going on, everyone? My name is Donovan, and today I want to revisit a watch that I reviewed back in March. This is the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active, and honestly, it's actually the most popular watch I reviewed on this channel up to this point, and so I want to go ahead and revisit it, let you know what I think about it after using it for 4 months, and yeah, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So first thing I want to mention is the price, and obviously, if you're thinking about picking it up, the price is going to be important, so you can see it's available at Amazon.com for just under $200, and it's available in 3 different colors: black, green, and rose gold. So the version I have is the green version. Now every once in a while you will be able to find this watch for right around $180. Sometimes you might even be able to find it a little bit cheaper than that, but generally the regular retail price of this watch is $200. So let's go ahead and talk about whether it's worth that price point or not. So let's just run down the build quality first of all. So let's take a look at what all you get. So there is a microphone down here. So this watch does have a microphone, but it does not have a speaker. So the more expensive Samsung Galaxy Watch, which is also a larger watch, does have a speaker, whereas this one doesn't. It does have that microphone though, also that heart rate sensor, and in comparison to the regular Samsung Galaxy Watch, I found this one to be more accurate. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Has the same button configuration as you get on the larger Samsung Galaxy Watches. This is our back button and home button. It's also the way we go to our app drawer as well. So if you want to go into your apps, you're going to want to use this button, and it's also, again, it's the home button, and then this one here is going to be our back button. Other than that, everything else is going to be touch based. It is a very responsive AMOLED display. We have a 40mm display here, and just a real quick comparison to some other watches I have here. So here's what it looks like next to my Apple Watch 44mm. This is Series 4 Apple Watch, so it is slightly smaller, obviously round, which I personally prefer. Here it is next to a very large watch. This is my Garmin Fenix 5 Plus. In comparison to weight, this one's obviously a whole lot lighter than the Fenix 5 Plus, which is to be expected because that one's made out of steel. Over here, this is the TicWatch Pro. So this is the newest TicWatch Pro. In terms of weight, it actually isn't a huge difference. This one's definitely lighter, but not drastically lighter. But obviously, in terms of size, this one is a whole lot smaller. So this one's definitely, I think, preferable, especially if you're a female that wants a smaller watch, or just a male that wants a smaller watch. Obviously, this one would be preferred. Now, this is the Garmin Forerunner 245 Music. You can see it's obviously even smaller than that. So this is a relatively small watch. Is basically what I'm pointing out here. It does have removable bands, so if you want to switch these out, it is 22mm, and it actually comes with 2 different sizes in the box. You get the small ones, which are the ones I've been using, and they fit me great. You can actually see kind of where I end up using it right there. So I have about 4 more sizes I can go down from there, and then it does also come with the larger one. So if you have a larger wrist, it will fit you as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the display while we're talking about the build, because the display is absolutely gorgeous. I think Samsung, even when it comes to their watches, have some of the absolutely best displays. So that is definitely a huge positive. This is a beautiful watch. And obviously, one of the benefits there is that there's just a crap ton of watch faces that are available. So if you don't like the ones that it comes with, obviously there are a bunch of them. Some of them you have to pay for, so just a heads up. But this is a beautiful display, and so why not have a beautiful watch face? Now personally, I'm more of a data kind of person, so I personally like to have the data information, but if you're someone who wants something that looks a little bit more classy, obviously you can pick something that looks a little bit more your style. So all right, let's go ahead and jump into some of the other features of the watch. And I did say earlier that that was the microphone. Actually, the microphone's right up here. So if it were down here, it would be covered while you're using it. All right, so now let's talk about battery life. So battery life is obviously going to be really important, and honestly for me it's one of the most important factors of whether a watch is really useful or not, because if it has terrible battery life, it's not going to be very useful. This watch I would say is only okay. In comparison to the regular Samsung Galaxy watches, which I have found have really good battery life, they claim about 4 days of battery life on those watches, which I've found easily 2 to 3 days is true. This watch it's more like a day watch. You're pretty much going to need to charge it every day. And the good news is it does wirelessly charge. So if you have a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, you can charge it right on the phone, or you can charge it with any of the other wireless chargers you have. It does also come with a wireless charger puck inside the box as well. So you can use that one. I've personally never ended up using that. I've just been using my wireless chargers I have laying around, and it does charge very fast. So that's also another benefit. You can charge this watch up in about, I'd say, 80 to 90 minutes using a fast wireless charger. Not that it actually fast wireless charges, but if you have one, it does charge up pretty quick on those. So that's the plus. The minus is you're pretty much going to have to charge it every single day. Now let's go ahead and talk about the other features. So in terms of software, I really think that Samsung does have obviously not obviously, but it is some of the best software on any watch. So I'm comparing that into just about any other watch that we have here. So in comparison to like Wear OS, I definitely think that Samsung's Tizen is definitely better. In comparison even to Apple, I really think that Samsung has personally the best software going for a smartwatch. So why do I say that? Well, it's very simple. It's easy to use. So here we have our shortcuts. So there's a bunch of different shortcuts here, and obviously if they are blue, that means that they're obviously being used. If not, then they're not being used. So and then we slide over here. These are notifications. So notifications are simple, and when we go into one, so this is a company that asked me to review something. I have no idea what it is, but I can go down here and I can use the microphone on the watch to respond. I can use the text, or I can go down here and have some automatic responses. Now, I will note that if you use this with an iPhone, these responses are not available. So it's only available if you're using it with an Android device. I'm using it with my LG G8, so you can use it with any Android device, but if you're using it with an iPhone, the automatic responses aren't going to be available for you. If we scroll over here to the right, we have all of our widgets. You can update these widgets. You can change them to whatever you want them to be. There's a ton of widgets available, so we'll go ahead and scroll through just a few of them. And yeah, they're very useful. So I've found them to be nice, easy to use. And then this of course is our back hardware button and our home button. So this one is also our app drawer. So there's tons of apps that are available. I will say in comparison though, when we're comparing something like the Samsung Tizen software to like Apple or Wear OS, these two definitely have many more apps available. This one does not. So if we're comparing Samsung's Tizen to Wear OS or Apple, there's not as many apps available, but I've found that for me personally, the apps that I want are available, and so that's really all that I care about. There's really not anything that's missing for me. Now, I know some people really like maps. There aren't the best map options available. Some people like to use watches for golf. I haven't found, like, if you use it for golf, I haven't found a great app to use for golf either. If you know of any apps that work great for those two things, then go ahead and let me know down below. But I definitely think that the app options are a lot more limited when it comes to Samsung's Tizen operating system. So that's just a heads up there. But lots of apps that are available, so like Spotify, Strava, we have Samsung Pay, we have music, and yeah, lots of things available here. I'm not going to go through every single one, but now let's go ahead and talk about what it's like to use this as a workout watch, because obviously with it being the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active, probably the reason you're buying it is because you're trying to, have an active lifestyle. So here is the main app. This one's just going to show you your daily steps and things like that. We can go into your full week, so you can see I've been using it over the course of the last week. Been able to fill all my rings, so similar to what you would get with like an Apple Watch. If you go in here to the settings, we can set our targets. So I've set my targets to 600 calories burned, 30 minutes of activity, and 10 hours of movement. And one thing that's kind of cool in comparison to some other watches is rather than just telling you if you've been sedentary for too long, it actually gives you some suggestions for things you can do. So like it might say after sitting for an hour, you should stand up and do some torso twists or some lunges or something like that. It gives you suggestions, which is kind of cool. If you want to do a workout, we can go in here, and there's lots of workout options available. So my main one, of course, is running. I've been doing some cycling with this one actually. So lately this summer, for some reason, I've gotten into cycling a lot more. Obviously, you can walk. It does also auto pick up these activities. So if it detects that you're out hiking or walking or running or cycling, it will automatically start detecting them and work right away. Of course, this has GPS, it has that heart rate sensor, so you're going to get some good information there. We can go for swimming, treadmill, exercise, circuit training. This watch honestly has more workouts than I would ever personally need. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. What I meant to do is to go to the more workouts, and you can see that there's just a ton of different things here. Now, I will admit that honestly, these individual workouts don't work necessarily the best, so I've heard other people say this as well, but I've found that, like, for instance, if you're trying to do burpees, it won't necessarily get all of them, it won't record them as well as it probably should, but it's going to show you how to do them and things like that. So lots of options available here for those that like to work out. Personally, I'm a runner and a little bit of a cyclist as well. And for those things, it's good. The GPS on here has been very accurate. The heart rate sensor, in comparison to other Samsung Galaxy watches, has been a lot more reliable. I've actually gone on runs with other Samsung Galaxy watches that just for some reason didn't record my heart rate at all, or gets frozen or something like that. Here I've found that it's generally pretty active, but generally about 5 to 10 beats lower than what other watches would show in the same workout. So for instance, if I were to take it and compare it to my Garmin watches are definitely a little bit more accurate when it comes to heart rate. So generally when I'm running, I'm somewhere between 150 and 160. Here it's generally showing that I'm in the lower 150s, sometimes even 140s while I'm running, and not quite as accurate as what I get with Garmin, but still generally pretty accurate. Gives me a good gauge of what my heart rate is while I'm working out. So for that, it's pretty good. Now, one thing that I will say that has been very inaccurate is the calories. So I don't know if you care about that, but if you do care and you want some accurate workout information, so I'm going to just kind of show you a quick example. This was a run that I did. We'll go into recent workouts, and this is the run I did a little bit earlier tonight. So you can see I went for 5 miles for a run, and it said I only burned 394 calories. So if you're familiar with running, you know that in general, when you're running, 1 mile equals about 120 calories burned. So the fact that it says I only burned 398 calories is definitely not very, 394 calories is not very accurate, because that should be about 600 calories for a 5 mile run. And obviously that's a little bit low. So just a heads up there, I found the calorie burn to not be very accurate while you're doing activities. While you're doing your daily, day-to-day kind of things, that's more accurate, but during actual workouts, because the heart rate is basically basing that off of heart rate, and because the heart rate is always a little bit low, that's why I found, I'm guessing the calorie thing is off, because I've put in my height, my weight, things like that, so that's how it's measuring that. But obviously it's a little bit off for me. So maybe for other people it might be a little bit more accurate, but that's what I've found. For me, it's not super accurate, but it does give you a lot of good information about your workouts. So you can see here we can go into our speed, heart rate, elevation, cadence. It can show you your heart rate zones here, your individual mile splits, and a lot of other good information here. Now, it's not going to show you as much detail as what you get with a Garmin watch, because this one obviously is designed specifically for runners. This one's going to give you a lot more running information, your training effect and things like that. You're not going to get that out of this watch, but it gives you all the basic things you need in a workout. So that being said, if you have any questions, if there's anything I've missed in this video that you have questions about, I've been using it for a long time, so I should be able to answer your questions. So let me know down in the comments. Again, this watch is available in the links down below from Amazon.com for $200, and if you use those links to purchase it, I greatly appreciate it, because it does support the channel. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.